One, two. Testing, one, two. Testing, one, two. Testing, one, two, three. Testing, one, two, three. Testing, one, two. This is Ralph Hayes Jr., RHJunior reality check coming to you live over the systems of tubes known as the internet through one particular tube called YouTube, bringing you my boob tube broadcast, Spleen Squeezins. One, two, three, four. Yeah, this is me. We finally got everything, well, almost everything, up and functional. We're going to see how it goes tonight. I have no idea what we're sounding like right now. Sound like a guy eating nachos. That's what we sound like. Don't know if it's working or not. Okay, I can't tell if it's working. That's the thing of it. I can't tell if it's working. Darn. Music is conniptionating on me. Testing, one, two, three. Testing, one, two. Testing, one, two. Just making sure the music is coming through. Taking my voice, at least, is coming through. In some garbled, hideous form, at least. Now, let's skip that song. I hate that song. Pardon my chewing. and we say, howdy ho, howdy ho. How you doing, Archangel? Good to see you. I figured out what was wrong with my first question. Archangel, can you understand what I am saying? I will wait for your answer. And two, next question. Is the music too loud or too soft? My post about the what? Why? I did not know that, and I do not know why. You can't hear the music? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me try this. You should hear it now. At least a little meters bobbing back and forth. Okay. No music? Still no music. Okay. Okay. Testing. Do you hear music now? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Test number 3. Do you hear test number 3 music? Mm. Okay, you're not hearing any music. You're hearing some white noise. Okay, let's see here. Let me see what we got here. Boy. Okay, give me a second here. Give me a second. Bomba la siempre. Bomba pa siempre. I don't know. I should not need to hold the microphone up to anything. The sound is supposed to be going through Minicam and going out to you. And according to all the little sound meters, it is. System sound, microphone, audio. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to stop it for just a second. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. bought myself a little wingding, sort of a cable thing that's going to let me take the upload the contents of my old hard drive into my new hard drive. Seeing as the new hard drive's over a terabyte, yeah, I think there's going to be enough room. Sweet little crap. I remember when a gigabyte was amazing. When was that? Last month? Oh, did you see that video? That video, you're talking about your dog didn't like how your brother and sister and brother-in-law dressed up like Krampus. Have you seen that video yet? Guy's dog, golden retriever, had her favorite toy was a Gumby plushie, and so her owner's boyfriend dressed up as Gumby. You know, got a full-size costume, came into... They filmed the dog's reaction. I have genuinely never seen the expression on that dog's face before on a dog. The dog looks up, the dog's sitting there playing with her Gumby, her Gumby doll, and she looks up, and here comes Gumby through the door, and the dog is like, what the heck? And then she flips out, and he's like, it's Gumby, orf, 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 and she's all over the guy, like, Well, Amiga Dragon, transferring files can be a real pain in the butt if your old computer dies. So sometimes you need certain kinds of cables, and you need this and that and the other, and you plug everything together, and you gotta transfer it. And if you've never had to do it before, it's kind of important. I mean, it's not such a big deal if you have two working computers, right? Failing all else, you can burn them to a CD or put them on a thumb drive and transfer them manually. But when all you got left of the old computer is the drive, it gets a little interesting. Anyway, let's see here. I gotta get a new slideshow. I'll do that. I got the cables and stuff. I'm going to be doing the transfer later. Wasn't going to try and do it right now, but I'll be transferring my files back over to this computer. I cut my tongue. Ow! I got a little sore spot on the very tip of my tongue. Makes eating anything real interesting. All right, let's see here. I'm about to sneeze here, guys. Now, let me see. Let me go ahead and pull up the. Okay, I've got a little stack of commissions, $10 commissions to do. I've also got commissions for Danny Meyer for his strip, the old Vic, it's starting to stack up. So let's get cracking. Been having some fun, it was good, actually it was kind of good being able to, with my computer, with my regular computer down, my laptop is not up to doing artwork on, but I probably just need to make some adjustments or something. But anyway. I took a few days. As you saw, I made some updates. I made an update to. I put a couple of new chapters up for the Great Alicorn Hunt and a new chapter for the Rise of Dark Vulcan. And it was nice. Those chapters were stewing for a while, so I just took that time, that extra time, and finished them up. Anyway, it's interesting things to think about. When you start reading, when you start writing or reading fan fiction, you start noticing things, and headcanon theories, that kind of thing, start popping out of nowhere. The moving stairs. This did not occur to me until yesterday. Okay. The moving stairs in Hogwarts in Harry Potter series. Everybody makes jokes about the moving stairs, how pointless they are. And then I thought about it. Muggles have moving stairs. We do. Muggles have moving stairs. We call them escalators. We've had escalators for about what, 100 years? Think about it. Think about why Hogwarts would have moving stairs. I'm picturing some Muggle-born and some stuffed-up pureblood sitting at a bar, and the Muggle-born is trying to explain escalators to the pureblood. And the pureblood, doesn't quite get the concept. Goes back home, goes back to Hogwarts, and just to show that they can do anything that the Muggles can, they add their own moving staircases to Hogwarts. And obviously don't quite get the concept right. And it just explains so much. Suddenly something that was just ridiculous and nonsense, it makes sense now. Some stuck-up wizard trying to show that he could do that wizards could do anything Muggles could do better. Here's about escalators. Gets to the only gets to the part about moving stairs, and demonstrates that he doesn't quite get the concept installing them at Hogwarts. Yeah, well, Omega Dragon, this computer does not have a spare connector inside it. There's literally no room inside. There is literally not an inch of, there's not even not only no extra plugs, there is not an inch of slack in the cables. I'm not kidding you. It's a rebuilt machine, and they were watching every dime, you know what I'm saying, as far as the cables went. And and my computer used older kind of cables than did, and blah 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 blah. Well, anyway, I got a connector. I don't have to open up. I don't, with the thing I got, I don't have to open up my computer to do this. I just plug this cable into my old hard drive. Plug the other end into a USB port, and voila. Ta-da! You know. Anyway, back to the topic. Let's see here. Okay, I'm trying to decide what to do first. Are y'all still there? Hello? Bueller? Oh, come on, computer, giddy up. Okay, let's see. I gotta delete some files here. Music box. Already did that one. Come on, computer, giddy up. Hate it when I just delete. Okay. Let's see. Adam Alberson wants 2 characters and it says 2 characters. That's it. Pet peeve all over again. I'm just gonna have to. Travis McDaniel, let's see here. Single color strip, cameo options. Some of these I don't seem to have a corresponding description email. Take a minute here and send a few. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Oh, that's so aggravating. Oh, that's so frustrating. Okay, let's see. Nico Weasel. He's a nickel wafer weasel. Come on, computer, giddy up. Okay. Okay, guess we'll do Nico Weasels. Let's see here. Cameo strip. Uh, look at this. Okay, Nico Weasel. We bounced this back and forth. I said, I just need some info, description of the character, and and what your scenario is. But any scenario questions you had. I needed to at least know what the character looked like. Okay, let's try. He never sent me the email explaining what the character is or what it looked like. That's no good. I need minions. Okay. Look at this. Okay, we got Travis McDaniel. Okay, all three of these. Maybe I shouldn't say the name, but I already said the name. It's too late. Well, anyways, you got his real name, his furry handle, which is Nico Weasel, and he's got 2 different emails, apparently, and it just gets real. It's become interesting. Netfox. Okay. Netfox here. Oh, he set them over. Damn it. Look, when Netfox, love you, man. But when I say please send me emails to my email address with descriptions of your commission, please send them to, he sends them to the forums, to the comic forums instead. That makes it an Easter egg hunt. Let's see, Eric Sellers. Oh, already did this one. I gotta start deleting the ones that are done. So okay. Let's move on to no. Let's. Okay, the old Vic. Okay, we already did. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Switch that around. Diddly do, diddly dee. Most of the tools I've downloaded for Manga Studio 5 are still on the old hard drive. Makes it fun. About like a ton of different brushes and stuff. Ones that do fur or scales or let's see here. Have I got the camera on the screen? Have I got the camera on the screen? Yes, I got the camera on the screen. Gotta make it sure it isn't just stuck on my fat face. Now that I've got the camera up. I'm trying to think, but nothing is happening. This is tragic. Frame, here we go. Okay, let's see. Where's on Netflix, I caught season 2 of The Flash, and it kind of bugged me. Some of the characters they put in. I'm sorry, Wally West was not black. Barry Allen's sister was not black. You know, I know they're trying to do their thing. You know, trying to tell me a little bit different. You know, I just put up with it. You know, it's a fairly decent show. All said and done. But okay, this finally got on my last nerve. I started watching Supergirl, and it opens up with Supergirl decides she wants to be a normal girl, and and she's out there to. And she decides to start working for some female media mogul, girl power thing, and I'm like, oh crap. And guess who shows up? Jimmy Olsen! Jimmy Olsen, Superman's best friend, Jimmy Olsen. Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. He's black. I just turned it off. You know, wasn't there a time when putting white characters in blackface was insulting? Look, I don't care. I don't care. I'm sick of the crap. I'm sick of the self-hating white people out there. I'm doing this kind of crap. Jimmy Olsen. I want to walk up to that actor and say, what the hell is wrong with you? Jimmy Olsen has been a white dude longer than you've been black. He's a legacy character. He is a white dude. He is as white as you can get. He is white with red hair and freckles. It doesn't get any whiter than that, short of being a blue-eyed blonde. Oh no! We're gonna what are they aren't showing anything? They're showing they have no respect for other people's history, nobody else's legacy, nobody else's traditions. Now, why don't you make some original characters? Why don't you go out there and make some? Now, Luke Cage, hero for Basically they took this dorky '70s character and they've revamped him. He's a pretty that's a pretty good show too, and it's heavy on about black pride and tradition and culture and history, and it does it without peeing on the legs of white people. It's Luke Cage. He's a original black character who's black, always been black, and now they're really writing him really well. I got to say that. So don't tell me you can't write interesting or interesting minority characters. No, you gotta. I love this. They talk about white people appropriating other cultures. What the hell are these people doing to us? At least when a white man makes Chinese food, he doesn't try and pretend it's white food. When you got somebody out there and starts a soul food restaurant, they don't try and rewrite it so that the original. They don't go out there and take Uncle Ben's rice and put him in whiteface. We respect the origins of the stuff. But when a white person makes something, it somehow they got to run up here and pretend it was done by everybody but a white person. They got to pretend that a legacy character who's been around longer than the whining sissies that are doing it have been alive. They got to change him into a minority, like they're ashamed of being white. Tired of that. So tired of that. Good night. I can't begin to tell you how tired of that I am. That makes no sense. What is this? What is this? There we go. This is what people want the black legacy to be. This is what they want to. This is what they're trying to say. That black people can't do anything on their own. That they have to steal something from a white dude. How old is Superman? Like 50, 60, 70? No, I think he's like 75. He predates World War II. Sweet merciful crap. They gotta take care. They gotta make Spider-Man half black, half Hispanic. They gotta make Thor a woman. They gotta. They're parasites. They can't do anything original themselves. People, they're parasites. They can't create anything. They can only steal other people's accomplishments. They can only steal accomplishments by white people. It used to be that Black Americans and Mexican Americans and all the others, they would, all these minorities, they would take pride. Black pride used to be about what talking about accomplishments like George Washington Carver and Martin Luther King Jr. and talking about people who actually, African American inventors and Harriet Tubman and writers and politicians and scholars and scientists that made their own accomplishments. But all these people can seem to do is, run up and try and steal from other people. That's pathetic. This is the legacy that Democrats have given to black people. Affirmative action of every sort. And it boils down to this. Affirmative action, whether you're talking affirmative action or welfare or, the putting these legacy characters in blackface. What's the end result? Nobody can look at a black person without thinking that what they got by stealing from a white person. That's their whole objective. That's the consequence of their social meddling and experimenting. All they have managed to do to the African American community in the United States, to the black people in the United States, is rewrite things so that you can't look at anything a black person accomplishes without being tainted with a suspicion of it being done by a parasite. Now, I'll get you, let's talk about these characters. Now, let's be honest. Their efforts at making minority characters in the past were kind of awful. I mean, the original Power Man, that's Luke Cage. He was so 70s. I kid you not, man. Yellow shirt, bracelets and a headband, a metal headband thing, and a blousy yellow shirt open all the way down to his navel, Blaxploit, big fro around his head too. I'm like, oh jeez. but you still liked him, you know. You run around punching bad guys in the face saying, "Jive, turkey," you know. But, you know, but let's be honest, as if no black person ever acted like that. You know, that's what gets me. You get to, you know, why is it that, you know, you get a minority culture, like, you know, the African American community, the black community, whatever you want to call it, and, you know, they start doing their own thing, start doing their own culture and their slang and everything else, and within 5 to 10 years, it's instantly an old shame, and you are a racist for bringing it up. Back in the 70s, black people went around. Afro was everything. The fro pick. Every black guy, and went around with the whole soul brother jive turkey and everything. It was real, you know. You know, it wasn't something black people. It wasn't something white people made up. But now, God help you if you're a white person and you mention that stuff. You know, you mention being a soul brother, and they will leap across the room at you. Don't you dare bringing that up. Yeah, white people are supposed to live with the sins and shames of 200 or 300 years in the past, but black people won't even admit to the fact that they went to the disco. Oh, now, you know, the Asian folks, you know, they don't appreciate being whitewashed either. And I have to say, I saw Avatar: The Last Airbender movie, and I wanted to kick M. Night Shyamalan's butt. Those kids were Asian. They were all supposed to be from different Asian cultures. They were supposed to be. And what happened? What happened? The only one who was even remotely Asian looking was the villain. All the rest were white kids. I'm like, Shyamalan. I ain't even gonna try and pronounce Shyamalan's name for real. You know, you gotta sit up nights to come up with a name that hard to pronounce or spell. M. Night Shyamalami. Call him Shamwow. He actually managed to take one of the most popular animation, you know, one of the most popular animated series in decades and ruin it. Didn't even have to write the story. It was already all there for him, you know, buttoned up and ready to roll. What does he do? Stick his big old fat thumb in the middle of it. And, oh yeah, let's turn them all white. Well, you know, a legacy character should be what they were to begin with. I'm sorry. And, you know, the kids of, you know, the Avatar kids were Asian. You know, they were supposed to be, you know, Inuit and Japanese and you know, and so on, you know, Chinese and they deliberately cast them with all white people, and I'm like, why? No reason for it, no sense in it. You can't tell me that there aren't, you know, A half dozen you can't tell me there aren't a half dozen Chinese kids in Los Angeles that can act. They managed to find all the kid actors. They picked them out of all the good ones. Found the only kids in Hollywood that couldn't act. Every Hollywood mom on the planet that you got a little Shakespeare actor or actress tag along at their heels. And they pick out this lot. Shamalami. I don't know what kind of Shamamalami. Shimamama, Shamamama, Shimi. Shimamu, Shimimamo, Shimimamo. Mushy mushy. Mushy mushy. Come on. And I'm sorry, Selena Kyle was not black, okay? She was never black. So the Catwoman movie was stupid. She was never black, and she wasn't some mystic avatar of the cat goddess either. That's supposed to be, they gave her superpowers. She was a sneak thief. She was just a superbly trained athlete and sneak thief. That was her whole shtick. And yeah, she was white. But no, they made the Catwoman movie, and it's like, oh crap. It's like these people, they get a hold of stuff that has been around for decades. Stories that have been around longer than they've been alive. And they just got to make changes for change's sake. They don't care whether the changes they make a bad problem worse. You should see some of the things they wanted to do to Spider-Man back in the Tobey Maguire days. They wanted to. One of the things the director was talking about was giving him a translucent Spider-Man helmet. Like, oh, what the hell? It was supposed to be like a big clamshell helmet that Spider-Man could put on. Part of his costume. And you should see the Superman costume that they designed back when what's his face. Mr. Not the Bees. What's his name? He auditioned for a movie. They were going to make a movie called The Death of Superman, and they had what's his name? Nicolas Cage. They had Nicolas Cage, the man who should never, ever, ever play an action character, much less a superhero, audition for the role of Superman. You should have seen the costume. And oh Lord, the things they wanted to do to the Superman story, they wanted to make it so that Superman was a human being who got his powers from an alien suit. That was just one of the ideas they were throwing around. They wouldn't have been able to outrun the lynch mobs. Let me see here. Let me see. Where is it? Whoever did the latest Superman movie and the Superman versus Batman movie should have his ass kicked too. Superman is supposed to be an icon of hope. He's not supposed to scare the crap out of people. There have been people who've done Batman and Superman crossovers in the comics. You know, it means accepting that Superman is an icon of light. He's a hero in the sun, while Batman is a hero from the shadows, and they managed to work side by side because of that. But they tried to make both the characters. They made Superman dark and gritty, and they made both Batman and Superman stupid. And I mean, just retarded dumb, you know. I'm sorry, and it was just such a slop job. In fact, there was chunks in it that were obviously from plot lines that they dropped. It was that dream sequence was obviously supposed to be somebody traveling back in time. What's the name of the guy who wrote Clerks? Or did what is it? I can't remember his name. I'm trying to see if I can find the guy. Oh, here he is, Kevin Smith. Here we go. Okay, this is worth seeing. Okay, let me just. Let's see if I can get it to run. It's clunking along. This is where this gives you a vision of what.
And just on the topic that you brought on comic books now, the situation, the true Hollywood story, if you will, with the Superman Lives, and whether it was you who didn't want Tim Burton to go down with it, or if he just wasn't happy with what you had done with it, or what your take was on it.
For those of you who don't know, because this is going back a few years now, back in like 96, 97, at one point I was commissioned by Warner Brothers to write a script for a new Superman movie. And how it came about, I think, was that somebody saw Mallrats, somebody at Warner Brothers, some studio exec, and was just like, watched Brody and TS talk about the kryptonite condom, and they were like, this guy seems to know a lot about Superman. So I got called in for a meeting at Warner Brothers, and they said there's a couple of projects that you can rewrite, because at this point the script for Chasing Amy had started to circulate, and people were like, oh, he can write after all. So they were like offering me rewrite work. So I went into Warner Brothers. They said, we have 3 projects we could throw your way. I said, all right, what are they? And they said, one is a remake of an Outer Limits episode called The Architects of Fear. The second is Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. To which I was like, really, didn't we say all we needed to say with the first Beetlejuice? Must we go tropical? And the third was a project called Superman Reborn, and that's what piqued my interest. I was like, Superman? You guys are going to make another Superman movie? And they said, we're thinking about it. I said, I would love to do that. And they said, well, that's a long shot. I can't give you that right here in the room. That has to go through a bunch of people because it's a big Warner Brothers franchise. So I said, well, what do I have to do? Whose fucking dick do I have to suck to get this job? And thankfully he didn't say his. But he said, you know what? Why don't you take the script home? We have a draft of it. Take it home, read it, and tell me what you think about it. So I said, all right. I read the script, and I was just like, this is fucking terrible. This is a horrible script. I mean, it was just really, really bad. It was kind of like the Batman TV show version of a Superman movie. Very campy. So I went back to Warner Brothers 2 days later and sat down with the dude, and he was like, what'd you think? I said, well, it was really quite bad. And he was like, well, bad meaning good? And I said, no, bad, just fucking terrible. And he said, he's looking at me, and I'm just going on for about 5 minutes how bad the script is. I was like, do you pay somebody to write this? Is this the writer of this script somebody's fucking cousin? Because who lets somebody write this script? You pay this dude? Can you get the money back? Because this is horrendous, dude, horrendous. And he was looking at me, nodding and going, all right, well, thanks for coming in. So I left, and I was driving home. And I got home, and I called my friend Walters back in Jersey, and he's a big comic book fan. And I was like, dude, I just went into Warner Brothers and told them their script for Superman sucked. Rebel, rebel, Jersey represent. Fuck Hollywood. And Walter's like, well, why didn't you just offer to write a better version? And I was like, because I hadn't thought of that. I said, fuck. But it didn't matter because the next day I got a call from my agent, and he was like, hey, they want to see you at Warner Brothers again. I said, really? All right. So I went back, and it was the same dude that I talked to originally, the same studio exec, and then there was another dude in the room with him. So I sat down with him, and the first guy was like, glad you came back. Do me a favor, tell him what you told me about Superman, about the script. And I was like, all right, it's bad, sucks, did your cousin write it, blah, blah, blah. Did that for about 5 minutes, and then they both just nodded at me quietly, and then they're like, all right, well, thanks for coming in. So I went back home. Next day, I got another call from my agent going, they want to meet with you at Warner Brothers again. I said, all right. Because I really didn't have much to do. So I go back into the room, and it's that dude, the second dude, and now there's a third dude in the room. And they're all in semicircle chairs, and they put me in one chair, and the first guy's like, tell the two guys, tell this guy what you told us about the Superman script. And I just imagined it as a real kind of water cooler situation. Like one dude's standing around the water cooler and somebody else was there as well getting some coffee, and he was just like, you should hear what the fucking Clerks dude said about the Superman script. And the guy's like, what'd he say? And he was like, well, you know what, fuck it, I'll just bring him in. So I told them again, and it went on like that. It went on like that for almost a whole straight week. I would go back, there'd be another person in the room. And I kept saying the same shit over and over. And finally, I got to the guy at the top, who was Lorenzo de Bonaventura. Now there's like 6 to 8 guys sitting around a large table with Lorenzo at the one end and me at the other. And they're all like, tell Lorenzo what you told us about Superman. And so I launch into my spiel and shit. And Lorenzo's the first guy who was like, well, what would you do differently? And I said, well, I hadn't thought about it, but I mean, I guess you could try this, and that. And he's nodding and shit. And he's like, well, you know what? We're going to give you a shot at it. And I said, all right, awesome. And he goes, it's pending approval of the producer. And I said, who's the producer? And they said, John Peters. I said, all right, what do I got to do? They're like, you got to go meet with him. I said, okay. Now, John Peters, if you don't know, he's a producer on movies like he was an exec producer, or producer in name only on Rain Man. He was a producer on Batman. He was a producer on The Main Event, the Barbra Streisand boxing movie, which is how he got his start in the business. He used to be Barbra Streisand's hairdresser. And then one day he became a producer, because in Hollywood you just kind of fail upwards. So anyway, I'm going to meet John Peters, and I go to his place, and he was hardcore producer on Batman. He was there every day. It was kind of his baby from beginning to end. And when you get to his house, it kind of shows, because it's kind of like driving up to Wayne Manor. This is a big mansion through woods and shit like that, and it looks like there's a holographic cave to one side. So you get up and shit, and they bring you in, and he shows up, and he's wearing like short tennis shorts and shit, and he's kind of a built dude, but he's got a perfect head of hair, like well coiffed or coiffed. So I come down and sit down with him. He says, they tell me you got to take on Superman. I said, I do. He said, let me hear it. And I tell it to him. And after a while, I'm done. He's just nodding, looking at me, nodding. He goes, you know why you and me are going to do a good job on Superman? And I said, why? He's going, because you and me, we get Superman. You know why? I said, no. He said, because you and me, we're from the streets. Now, I grew up in suburban New Jersey. Never saw a black man until I was about 28. Like, I'm the farthest thing from the streets there are. You know, I grew up on a street, but not on the streets. And I'm looking at this guy going like, I'm from the suburbs, you're a hairdresser, neither of us are from the street. But I don't want to say that, because fuck it, I want the job. So I said, who would you see playing Superman? And he said, if I had to cast it right now? I said, well, yeah. And he said, Sean Penn. And I was like, Spicoli? Because it was an interesting choice. And he's like, yeah, did you see Dead Man Walking? Because that was out at the time. And I said, yeah. And he's going, well, look in his eyes in that movie. He's got the eyes of a violent, caged animal, of a fucking killer. And I was like, dude, it's Superman. He's like, I got some directives for you if you're going to move forward on the process. Some things I want you to do and don't in the script. He's going, 3 things. Okay, I said, all right. He's going, 1, I don't want to see him in that suit. 2, I don't want to see him fly. And 3, he's got to fight a giant spider in the 3rd act. And I'm like, let's go back to 1. When you say you don't want him in the suit, and he's like, don't want to see him in it. Don't want it, looks too faggy, he goes. And I was just like, no fags on the street, I take it. But I don't say that because I want the fucking job. So he said, flying, I don't want to see him fly. I said, well, that's kind of the suit, and flying defines Superman. I said, don't want to see it, don't want to see him fly. No scenes where he's flying around carrying people, horseshit. I said, all right, no flying. I said, but the giant spider intrigues me. Why that? And he's like, do you know anything about spiders? And I said, no. And he said, well, they're the fiercest killers in the insect kingdom. And I was like, what's that have to do with our non-flying Superman? Because there's going to be a scene in this movie, a scene that I want. When I saw King Kong when I was a kid, there's a scene where the doors open up and
Do you realize how out of touch somebody has to be to have a mental image like that? You know how far out in orbit they have to live. Okay, I'm playing the second part here so you can get the whole
Kong's
thing.
revealed, and it's a real big moment. I want that moment in this movie. I want some doors to open up, but big fucking spiders there. So I was just like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So I went back to Warner Brothers and sat down with them, and they said, we heard from him, he likes you, we're going to hire you, we're going to move forward. Did he bring up the spider? I said he did. He brought up the spider. Did he tell you guys about the spider? They're like, every day with the fucking spider. I said, what should I do? They're like, just do it, but try not to call it a spider. Can you call it something else? And I was just like, Thanagarian snare beast? And they were like, there, go. So I was ready to go start writing, and then I was told I had to write an outline first. And I was just like, what do you mean, an outline? They said, yeah, don't just write the script. You have to give us an overview of the story so we can approve the story so we can go write the script, and we need you to write an outline. I said, can I include dialogue? They said, yeah, go ahead. And then dialogue's about the only thing I know how to do, so I went home and wrote 80 pages. Just an 80-page outline with tons of dialogue and very few kind of prose passages. And so I turned it in, and I was in Los Angeles all this time. I wanted to go back to Jersey. I turned it in, I say, I'm finished. I'm going to go back to Jersey, and let me know what you guys think, and you can reach me back home. And they said, well, first off, this is 80 pages. And I was like, yeah, that's the outline. They're like, an outline is like 4 pages max. And I was just like, well, I just overcompensating because I grew up fat. They said, second off, you can't leave. You got to stick around here and read John the outline. And I said, what do you mean, read John the outline? They said, yeah, he likes to have the outlines read to him by the writer. I said, what do I have, fucking tuck him in when I'm done, too? So I go back up to fucking Wayne Manor. I sit down with John, and John puts me in a chair, and he's got a couch in this huge fucking living room. He lays down on the couch, and he goes, and I said, what's with that? And he's like, I like to visualize the movie while it's being read to me. So I'm looking at it up here. He was building a little screen. In his mind's eye, this was a screen. So I was just like, all right, here we go. And I start reading. And since it's Superman, you tend to use the term Superman a lot. And I didn't want to keep doing that. It gets a little boring. So being a comic book fan, I changed it up. Called him Kal-El when he was on Krypton, the Man of Tomorrow, Man of Steel, shit like that. So I'm reading the first few pages when he's on Krypton when he's a baby, because I have to redo the origin. And it's Kal-El this, Kal-El that, blah, 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 blah. He's like, wait a second. Who the fuck is Kal-El? And I was like, Kal-El is Superman. He's going, all right, why? And I was like, that's his Kryptonian name. He goes, I'm like, Krypton's where he's from? He's like, right, fucking planet, boom. All right. Go. So I go back into it and shit, and I read it, and when I'm all done, he's like, all right, I think we got a movie here. He's going, the problem, though, you're missing some beats, some action beats. You need an action beat. Every 10 pages, something big has to happen. I said, well, what are you thinking about? He's like, well, it's just an example, like when you have a scene where Brainiac goes to the Fortress of Solitude, looking for Superman. Superman's dead at this point. Hope I didn't spoil the movie for anybody. So Brainiac's looking for him at the Fortress of Solitude, and something should happen there. There should be a big fucking fight. I'm like, but Superman's dead at this point. He's like, I know, but can't Brainiac fight something else up there? And I was like, well, like what? He's like, what about like Superman's guards as soldiers? And I'm like, why would Superman need guards? He's Superman. And plus it's called the Fortress of Solitude. Nobody's up there. And he said, well, Jesus Christ. He's going, what about, where is this? In the Arctic? I said, yeah. He's like, what about polar bears? And I was like, polar bears? He said, yeah, have him fight some polar bears. Brainiac shows up. He's trying to get in the fortress. Polar bears come at him, and he just fucking kills one, and one runs away. Because we don't want to piss off the PETA people. And I said, you want me to write a scene where Brainiac is razzling polar bears? And he says, yeah, you know anything about polar bears? And I said, no, I don't. He's like, polar bears are the fiercest killers in the animal kingdom. And at this point, I'm just like, this dude has way too much access to the Discovery Channel. So I get done with my first draft, and I send it in, and they like it and whatnot. They start sending it off to people. They send it off to Nick Cage, Tim Burton. During this time, we have the premiere for Chasing Amy. And I invite John, because I know this dude doesn't know anything about my work. In fact, I don't think anybody at Warner Brothers knows much about my work beyond having read the script for Chasing Amy. Because I was always afraid somebody at Warner Brothers would be like, we gave our fucking multi-million-dollar franchise to the Clerks guy? Like, he's going to turn in a script with fucking Clark, jumping on Lois going, how many fucking dicks did you suck? So I figured it was fair to kind of invite the producer.
Forgot about that part. Apologize for that.
My new movie. So I said, we're having this premiere for Chasing Amy. You want to come? And he said, yeah. I showed up, and I talked to him the next day on the phone. I said, what'd you think? He was going, interesting flick, which in Hollywood means I didn't like it at all. He's going, you know what I really like, though? He's going, the black guy, the gay black guy. I like that a lot. I liked his voice. I said, yeah, Dwight, he's very funny. And he said, that's what we need in our movie. And I was like, you want Dwight to be in the movie? I know he'd fucking be happy to do it. He said, no, we just need that voice. We need that character, somebody like him in our movie. Can't Brainiac have a sidekick? And I was like, well, yeah, I guess. And he said, give him a little robot sidekick and give him that dude's voice. I said, really? You want the robot to sound like a gay black man? And he said, that's what this movie needs, is just a gay R2-D2. And at this point, the Star Wars movie was in re-release, and it opened up that previous weekend, made like $30 million and shit like that, and he had gone to see it again. So he was like, we need more shit like that in our movie. We need something that, like, we can make toys of and shit like that, like Chewie. We need Chewie in this movie. And I was like, you want me to just fucking write Chewie into the movie? Superman razzling Chewie? And he said, no, but just something like that. Like maybe Brainiac has a dog, and it's a little cute dog, and we can make a toy out of it. Because that's what it's about. We got to sell some toys off this movie. So that's what I need in this movie. I said, I don't really know if that's going to work. He said, don't tell me it's not going to work. I want my Chewie. And I was like, I got your fucking Chewie right here. But I don't say that because I like the job. So Tim Burton and Nick Cage sign on based on my draft. And I was kind of excited. I said, that's kind of neat. Fucking Tim Burton, Batman, and Nick Cage, fucking Nick Cage. But when Tim Burton got signed onto the project, Tim Burton signed a pay-or-play deal, which essentially means no matter what happens, Tim Burton gets paid whatever his directing fee was. I think at that point it was $10 million, $5 to $10 million. Tim Burton, once he signs the deal, turns around and says, I'm going to bring on my guys to write a script. And the Warner Brothers guys were like, well, what about the script we're developing? And he said, I don't want to use that. I want to do my own script. Presumably a version of Superman where he has scissors for hands. So they turn around, they tell me, like, Kevin, we're kind of done. Tim wants to go another way with a new writer. And I was like, all right. And I wasn't really that upset. I didn't feel, because I'd worked on it for 2 drafts, and I got to hang out with a really fucked up, kooky dude. A dude who I can tell stories about for the rest of my life. And, like, they paid me a lot of money to do it. Like, I would have done it for free, but I didn't tell them that. But they paid me a bunch of money to do it. And it was just fun. Like, I got to work on Superman. I got incredible access into the DC archives and shit like that. And people would give me free Superman shit all the time because I was working on it. And then I got shit canned off, and I started throwing Superman stuff away because who needs to be reminded? But I was really reminded the next summer when I went to the movies and saw a movie that John Peters had produced. And it was called The Wild Wild West. So I'm sitting in the theater watching the movie. I'm like, good Lord, this is a piece of shit. But then all of a sudden, like a giant fucking spider shows up.
What can you say? What does that tell you? Does this not just? It's funny. It's funny to hear about, but at the same time, it's horrifying. These people, these Hollywood insiders, these directors and producers, these people are in charge of creating the art that encapsulates our culture. The movies and plays and TV shows and the entertainment that embodies our culture, and they are utterly out of touch with what they are trying to bring to life. They have no clue. Just and they conduct business in a way that in any other industry would have destroyed. They should have, if they didn't have this leviathan monopoly on world entertainment. American Hollywood movies. They rake in cash by the ton all over the world. And other nations, do their damnedest to imitate us. On our side, I mean, you've seen clips. They've got Bollywood versions of Superman and Spider Man and Star Wars, and but oh my lord, the people who are in charge of of bringing our cultural legacy to life, they are this far out of touch. If they did not have the monopoly they do, they would have been destroyed. There's no way anybody could conduct business the way they do it and maintain a monopoly without absolutely diabolical forces at work. It's just it's heartbreaking. It's horrifying. And you wonder how it is that anything at all comes out of Hollywood that's even watchable. You see all these horrible movies that come out. The B movies and the D movies and the direct to video stuff and all this horrible crap. And then you wonder, why do they make so many bad movies? And then you look at how they make them and how they pick the people to do the work, and the incestuous, obscene, political maneuvering, and just a hairdresser, for God's sake, a hairdresser. They took a hairdresser and made him a movie man. And yet they managed to stay in. Why? Because that's all there is for dinner. Because without Hollywood, there is nobody that makes blockbuster movies. There's nobody out there that makes TV series and such. They're all that's there. And there is no serious competition against Hollywood anywhere in the world. Once in a blue moon, you'll have an indie movie pops up that shakes up the market a little bit, but they're gone as fast as they appear. There's they millions, literally billions of dollars have been funneled into Hollywood for so long That they're like a dinosaur. They're like the old portrayal of dinosaurs, so huge that it took them forever for their brain to realize that the rest of their body has died. Yeah, I've seen some of the clips and such, for the new Power Rangers movie. I'm sorry. I took one look at that scene where the costume was oozing up their bodies, and I'm like, what the hell? I remember when Power Rangers first came out. They never had liquid costumes. Okay, it was just yeah, what the heck? Just how I am constantly baffled as to how Hollywood continues to exist in the form that it does. Now you look at places like Great Britain and Canada, they have government funded and controlled entertainment. The BBC and Canada, they have huge chunks of their finance that goes to funding the arts, including independent filmmakers and animators and such. And they usually, just like the Cannes Film Festival, produce a bunch of artsy fartsy crap. And the BBC, uh, for every show that comes out of Great Britain that everybody goes bonkers over, there's about a million that you hold your nose and change the channel. I gave up the idea of ever being in any kind of. I looked at the idea of working in entertainment. I said, oh no, 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 no. It's not going to happen. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. I'm sorry. Is it leftists and their ilk? There's no way to put it. There's no other way to put it. How the hell do they live? How the hell do they survive? I'm a heartless sob because when I see people like this thriving, there's some little selfish part of myself that goes, these people are taking up the air that I want to be breathing. They're taking up the space I want. You know, why haven't they managed to kill themselves off yet by mistake? You know, that's a horrible thing to think, really. As it's just very unchristian. It's maybe, but it's just vaccine. All of us. How many of us are struggling? How many of us there isn't a one of us who isn't struggling in some way or another, trying to make their way up the ladder in some aspect of our lives. And there isn't a one of us that there isn't some human waste of space blocking the path, like a big old fat Snorlax, just sitting there. They will not move. They will not step aside, and they will not die. Do you know how awful it is? Think about this. Think about all the human misery that Senator Ted Kennedy caused the human race in the course of his political career. From that poor woman, from that poor woman who died, who drowned in his car while he saved his own arse and ran off, to God only knows how many people he personally destroyed and destroyed at a remove with his legislation and his influence and his corruption. Yeah, and yet he remained in power every last minute of his life. He died a U.S. Senator. And all the systems, all the and this is and it's it tests your faith in God, in all the things that he established, including logic, common sense, science. Because despite all the things that should have wiped him off the face of the earth, he persisted. The Darwin Awards should have caught his ass decades ago. A drunkard, a philanderer, a murderer. He should have been voted out of office decades ago. He should have never stayed in office. There should have been enough people in his home district who were sick of him. They got him out of power. Look at Obama. By all rights, that man doesn't have the qualifications of a dog catcher. He should have never been within spitting distance of political power. And yet he reached the peak, and he not only got there, he stayed there for 8 full years. When men who were 20 times more the man than he will ever be never even got a chance. And you look up at heaven and you go, why, God? And you got people out there that do just obscenely stupid things that should have spelled the end of their careers. The end of their future. Hillary Clinton's one good example. She has broken so many. She's right out there. She's right out in front of the country right now. If it had been anyone else, they'd be under the prison by now. But she's untouched. Her husband is untouched. They have spent their entire lives. They are a crime family. They are a crime family, and their crimes have been done out in the open, in public, and anybody, and if they're, all it would have taken was one person in authority with the moral integrity of a weasel to bring them down. By all rights, they should have never reached the White House in the first place. They should have never left Arkansas. They should have spent their entire lives in an Arkansas prison for some of the things they did while they were still there. Instead, she has spent every year of her life since then. She and her husband have spent it living high on the hog and lording it over the rest of the nation. And again, you go, why, God? Why? There cannot possibly be the American people. There cannot, there cannot possibly be an American populace so depraved that these people, should be able to get away with what they do. There should be no reason for them to even be in power. They shouldn't, they shouldn't even be. They should have never made dog catcher, and yet here they are, destroying our country. You cannot tell me that there aren't enough people with, with a scrap of moral decency left in them. That there aren't enough people like that to get together and bring them down. Why? And forget the concept of just enough decent people in the world. Just Darwin should have caught up with these people. You go out in the streets, you got people who have been, 5 minutes into you got people who have been junkies for a week, and they keel over dead. You got these people in power; they've been snorting more cocaine, and you got people out there drinking and boozing and doing drugs and womanizing and we're just basically every horrible lifestyle choice you could possibly make. If nothing else, the irate husbands should have caught up with Bill Clinton ages ago. And yet they live on. They not only live, they thrive, they prosper. And at a certain point, you're no longer asking for divine retribution or God. You're not asking God to step in and balance this, because you're just wanting to know why the hell the laws of physics have been suspended around these people. It should not be possible to demonstrate this level of corruption and stupid decision making and incompetence without, like I said, I'll repeat it again. They should be on the front page of the Darwin Awards. Cause and effect and consequences should have caught up with them long ago. Even the atheists would stand around and be going, okay, when did the law of probability suddenly take a hike? See people out there making, and not just moral decisions. We're talking about like practical decisions, like business decisions, economic decisions, and you look around and by all rights, this is one that flabbergasted me constantly. By all rights, the American economy should have imploded like the Weimar Republic decades ago, and yet somehow we're hanging out there. The entire United States economy and all the other economies. It's like hanging there out over the abyss like Wile E. Coyote. The laws of economics that are as old as time itself, factors that have existed since the beginning of time, all say that we should have passed the point of no return ages ago, and yet here we are. Now there are a lot of explanations as to why we have not come to our own debt. The most persuasive one is that basically we're selling our bankruptcy, our debt overseas. What do I mean by that is basically, look at it this way: we are taking the American dollar, which is gradually becoming worthless in the first world, and taking it over to the third world where they're still accepting it. Same basic principle is that you live in a small town and your credit has gone bad, and nobody in town will accept an IOU from you. So you drive 20 or 30 miles away and start writing rubber checks in the next town over. This is how America has managed to stave off the major collapse. We're already in the throes of hyperinflation. The price of gold is the barometer. It's the thermometer of real dollar value. In the 1960s, an ounce of gold was $50. Today, it's $1,500. Are you getting the picture? We already have things that the price has gone berserk. In the 1970s, a year of tuition at Harvard or Yale was about $3,000. Today, it's $45,000. We've managed to sell it because we've managed to keep certain goods from climbing through the roof. But eventually, these third world countries are going to start saying, "No, senor, we do not want no more greenbacks," and that's going to be it. But still, getting back to the point is that in so many different ways, it's so frustrating seeing people that by all rights who are just utterly incompetent, who should fail, who need to fail, and they refuse to fall. It's like I say, like Wile E. Coyote hanging there in midair. Except it's not like Wile E. It's more like Bugs Bunny. I'm sorry, I gotta say this. Bugs Bunny is a jerk ass. I never liked Bugs Bunny because I can remember episode after episode where Bugs Bunny walks out on stage with Daffy Duck, and everybody cheers and applauds for Bugs Bunny. But Bugs Bunny walks off stage, nobody cares. And I'm like, and Bugs is out there, just stands there in masses of applause. And over on the other side of the stage, Daffy Duck is breaking his heart, trying to win the audience over. Nothing. And I remember so many cartoons where the villain would have Bugs Bunny trapped on the end of a branch. They'd saw the branch off, and instead of Bugs Bunny falling down, the tree falls down with the bad guy on it. and these infuriating, that's a picture of what I see. These infuriating people who the laws of economics and probability and common sense and just seem to suspend themselves, and they are given and they have luck that's so obscene you wonder if somebody sold their soul to the devil. Things that should have killed them years ago and would have killed any of us. They wade through. They're like you look at these guys from Guns N' Roses and stuff, and some of these geezer bands that are still out there, and they're like 80. You realize that the guys in what was it? Let's see, not Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and Aerosmith. Oh my lord, those guys are in their 70s. And they led a lifestyle that would have killed a herd of rhinos. And here they still are. And meanwhile, the truly great musicians and artists and people who are just basically conscientious and who live carefully and watch their diets and don't do drugs and they end up dying at an early age. And you just sit there and you go, what the hell? You don't even have to be expecting divine retribution. You just have to be expecting gravity to kick in at some point. And you look at this and you go, you can't stop wondering, first of all, is God playing favorites, and why is he picking people that he says he can't stand? You got people that, you got people. Do you have any idea how many writers I've seen who write incredible stories? I've seen their fan fiction. I've seen their regular stories, and these people should be out there making millions. They should be they should be the next J.K. Rowling. And they can't get a break. Meanwhile, the author of 50 Shades of Grey, which was a horrible Twilight fanfic, rewritten as a horrible generic bondage porno, sells enough books to load up a super tanker. And I won't lie, I feel this way sometimes myself about there are so many things that I could be doing better myself, being more I wish I could tell you how much I wish I was young back in the day. Wish I could go back and just back when I still had tons of energy, and I was so full of spit and vinegar, and that things I could have done better, and things I could have simply done more of. There was a day when I would draw 3 or 4 comic strips in a day, Of course, they look terrible, but I could do it. I could do it. But and and uh, I've tried so many different things over the years to try and you know I'm constantly having to chase trends, and it's terrible. It's a waste of time, but I keep doing it anyway because you can't make long term plans because you're trying to survive till next week. The old joke, when you're up to your ass in alligators, it's hard to remember that your initial goal was to drain the swamp. And I would go from doing commissions to auctions. There was a time where you could post up, I will draw, I will do a commission, anything, for, bid on this auction, and people would, and fans would chuck down money to bid on an artist to do an auction for him, and that went on for a couple of years, and you could make some really good money like that. And I joined. Sometimes it feels like the surest sign that a trend is about to die horribly is when I get on board. Because I got on board and I started putting up auctions. Starting bid $10, bid on and I will do your commission for the winner of the auction, I will do their commission, and I did like two or three of those, and then it died. It died. There used to be auction sites where artists, furry artists especially, would auction off their service, and they're gone now, just gone. And there was a time when you could sell original artwork that and there were times where you could sell it on eBay, and then eBay died out, and then doing commissions, and the commission market died out, and then for years you saw how many years I did. How many years I did commissions for cameos, and that one hasn't quite died out yet, but the effort to pay off, the supply and demand chart has a drastic drop off. You raise the price to a point where it you know, and boom, gone. No interest. And here I am. I'm selling $10 black and white drawings, and I can't whip them out of interest to keep the bills paid because there's simply not enough people interested anymore. Because and it's the same story over and over and over again. Meanwhile, there are people that do absolute crap who can't turn around without somebody running up and saying, "Shut up and take my money." And that it tends to make me a little bit bitter. Well, I've accepted it, so I don't. I've kind of accepted it's just the way things are. But I'm not. I wouldn't say bitter, but maybe just really not happy. And crap, I told you. You know what the surest sign that the porn market would be about? You know what would be the surest sign that the porn market was about to die? If I started doing porn for money, I bet you it would. I bet you it would. Uh, it feels like sometimes it feels like the forces of the open marketplace are sitting around like malicious little leprechauns. Ah, faith and begorra, here comes that Hayes fellow again. Quick, pull up the stakes. Let me put it this. Let me see here. Let me see here. Where is it? Patreon. I want to say this again to y'all. All my fans, all my Patreon patrons. God bless you. I've got to choose between paying my lot rent with this month's patrons or paying the electric bill. So, uh, but I've got 76 patrons. 76 patrons, people who donate. Just a little bit. Every few months. But let's see here. What's his name? Jay Naylor. And I don't know. I just don't think I have. I just don't think I offer anything that anyone wants, and that I'm just out of juice. Oh, let's hold on. No, 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 no. Easier way to find it. Go to Jay Naylor's page, then go to his Patreon page. He draws smut, but he draws consistent smut. he draws his comics regularly. He's managed to I do not do and he's managed to keep up ahead of steam all these years. And I've never managed to do that. There was a day when I could draw 3 or 4 strips a day. And as I've gotten older, and I've just run out of that juice. Let's see here. So, here we go. Here's his page, Patreon page. Just a second. He has 1,776 patrons. He makes 10,000 a month from just from Patreon patrons, and that tells me a lot. It basically tells me I could be doing a lot better. I could, frankly, I could be working harder. I could be producing more. Now, give me a little slack here. The past few days, things have been kind of tore up from the floor up. One computer going kaboom. So, but overall, I could be doing better. But Jay Naylor, he's quality. He's a decent artist. There are people out there that their work looks like they draw with a pencil stuck between their butt cheeks, and they're making, and they're professionals. Have you ever looked at the comics page lately? We're not exactly talking stunning examples of art and or humor. Nobody laughs at the comics page anymore. But these people, they're in like Flynn. Meanwhile, comic artists out there, I won't include myself in that because I am too, I do not consider myself to be one of the greats, not by a long shot. But there are people out there that are writing comics, have been doing it for years. They've been doing it online. They have been producing stuff that is, just uh, printing press quality stuff. Beautiful artwork, brilliant stories, hilarious jokes, and they're still shaking a tin cup. Even if you don't, if you even if you don't, make, even if you don't do donations or anything like that for me, go find yourself another artist out there, another cartoonist. You just give them a buck or something, because without them, all we'd be left with is the ones that are both that are more successful than they deserve, like me. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't want to bring anybody down. It's just this stuff is dwelling on my mind. It is so frustrating. Okay. I don't expect God to, I do not expect divine intervention. I do not expect miracles. And I don't think I have any right to demand that God, come down and perform a miracle just to make things go the way I think they ought to. I don't think that I have any right to demand that God tip the roulette wheel in my favor. You know what I'm saying? Or even in the favor, in the general. I don't think I don't think I have any kind of right to demand that God come down and tip the odds in the favor of the righteous. But I can't help feeling, looking at the world, seeing people prosper who should by all rights have, by their own incompetence, eliminated themselves from the field. I can't look at them and I can't help thinking, it would be nice if there was, if at least the laws of, the odds, if the laws of probability would start working again. So many of us run on. We're taught that if you take foolish risks or make bad choices, that those bad choices should catch up to you. And yet we see people all over the world making monstrously stupid decisions, and they not only do not reap the consequences, but they prosper. The old joke is Bill Cosby used to do this routine. He'd talk about when he was in Vegas. He said these people out there with the going around from table to table carrying these St. Christopher medals and stuff. Oh please God, let me get an inside straight. Oh please God, let me get a let the roulette wheel end in my favor. Oh please God, oh please God, oh please. And he said, those people, you don't see those people dealing the cards with a St. Christopher's medal out there. He says, God does the same thing every time. He comes down there, leans over his microphone, and says, "Bust everybody." And I would be cool with that. But we live in a world where there are people out there that are not only out there gambling, but gambling foolishly. And and on a monstrous scale, a scale that costs uh, millions of innocent people in ways great and small, and it never comes back to bite them in the butt. And sometimes you want to go, Lord, if you ain't going to help me, for heaven's sakes, don't help the bear. Okay, I got to run to the restroom. I'll be right back. Let me see here. New toys. Rock on. I'll be right back. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I better quit that before my neighbors get a gun and try and put whatever that noise-making monster is out of its misery. Oh. I just want to make one thing clear. I'm not trying to sit here and say, "Oh, I wish my life would be so better." Why isn't it? My life isn't fair. My life isn't fair. Boo-hoo. I deserve so much more. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know. I know that I don't. I don't deserve more. I don't. That's a straight up God's honest truth. I don't. I can look back over my life and think of 1,000 different things I could have done differently or better. But I also know two things. I know that all of us could be doing so much better as a whole, as a group, as people, collectively, if it weren't for certain injustices that seem to be entrenched in our world and in our society. A rising tide lifts all boats. We'll take taxation, for instance. Up until like 1918, we all kept. We didn't pay an income tax up until 1916, 17, 18. That's when about the time it was installed. And yet we still had roads and hospitals and an army and fire department, and policemen, and everything else. But some greedy bastard in Washington, D.C., some bunch of greedy bastards in Washington, D.C., managed to convince a bunch of greedy bastard voters that they could get something for nothing by stealing it from somebody else. And we ended up with the income tax, and we have more money than ever in human history being funneled into our government, and nothing to show for it but the biggest debt in the history of the human race. And if it weren't for that, we would all be doing better. Every last one of us would be prospering measurably better. We would be doing measurably better, all of us. And I also know that there are a lot of people out there who are deserving. And yet it only seems like the incompetent, the corrupt, the foolish, and the self-destructive manage to reach the top of the heap. When even basic statistics say that the playing field should be more level. And it's heartbreaking and it's frustrating. there are people out there with more artistic talent in their pinkies uh, than people like me and people like Jay Naylor have in their whole bodies. And they create just wondrous things. And they're struggling to survive. We got, and it's kind of sickening. You got people out there, they diet and exercise and they drive carefully and they do everything right, and and then they get some horrible, rare, indescribable disease and die bedridden. Meanwhile, you've got people that if it's ground in a powder, they'll snort it. And at this point, uh, they're in their 80s or 90s and still going strong. It's an obscenity that Ted Kennedy died basically of old age in Congress. And there are other people who never even made it to the starting line, never had a chance. And not because any malevolence or conspiracy, they just total random, a seemingly random roll of the dice, and they never made it there. I was flipped that even if I couldn't have faith that the hand of God would intervene, I at least had faith that the laws that governed his universe were consistent and fair. It seems like the laws of economics and biology and chemistry and sociology and the laws of gravity seem to only apply to the unfavorites. Let's see. Got a couple of people here. They're cartoonists, web cartoonists like myself. Let's see here. Let's see how some of the others are doing. You can't really fault Jay Naylor for doing a ton better than the rest of us. He is, after all, cheating by selling. You sell boobs. You basically got it bagged. Let's see here. We got one guy here. He's got 29 patrons. He's making $50 a month. Got another guy here creating webcomics. He's making 57 a month. Let's see. Masters of Webcomics, Jonathan Lemon. Rabbits Against Magic. Syndicated by Universal Press Syndicate. That's somebody else entirely. It's kind of hard to browse some of this Patreon stuff. It's a little. The linkages are a little vague. I'm doing way better than I deserve, frankly, compared to some of these people. I'm sorry, I've been harping on this for what, a half hour now? My apologies. It's just one of the things that drags on me sometimes. Things are slowing down a bit here. Let's see here. I'll save as. Let's see. Just downloads, documents. Definitely need to transfer those files over. I need to just put it in here for now. That's another thing about moving over to even even a seemingly disorganized person has certain habits of organization. Certain places they put things, certain files they stack up, and you clear that out. This is the old. I can't find anything she cleaned. One of the signs I remember reading this is there's a book called A Perfect Mess, and it's about it's a sort of a social examination of the advantages of clutter. One of the premises of the book is that people mistake being organized for being efficient. He pointed out there's a multi-million. The author points out there's a multi-million-dollar industry in home organization. Shelves and cabinets and interlocking cupboards and storage bins and canisters and lessons on how to better organize your home, that kind of thing. And he pointed out that many of these people get so upset they spend more time organizing than they do anything else. They spend more time organizing than doing anything actually productive. Meanwhile, some of the more productive people in life, and he's not talking about pigsty, filthy people like myself. He's talking about real, creative, constructive, inventive people. People who work and live in clutter are actually more productive because they're not spending all their time trying to put everything into a Tupperware bin. And he said one of the guys that the guy that discovered penicillin, he had a reputation for being the reason it happened is because a flake of bread mold blew in and landed in one of the petri dishes in one of the experiments he was working on, and he discovered it later. And the penicillin had killed the bacteria in a big circle around the crumb. And what most people don't know is the reason that it actually happened is because he was a slob. His office, he had stuff all over the place. And the only reason that it could actually have happened, they asked him, what could you have done? His lab was just as bad, and his workspaces were just as terrible. I don't know if it's the same guy, but I believe it is. The legend of the guy, his desk would get so cluttered with stuff, he would take a big sheet of butcher paper, layer it over the top of everything. He wouldn't clean it off. He'd just throw a big sheet of butcher paper over it and stack stuff. He had strata of junk on his desk. And one day, years later, they were doing an interview with him, and they showed him around one of these new scientific labs where everything was neat and everything was neat as a pin and everything was in its place. And spotless and sanitary, and everything was perfectly organized. And they asked him, what do you think you would have discovered if you'd have had a laboratory like this to work in? And he looked at it, he told him, I would have never discovered penicillin. He said, I never would have discovered anything at all. And it goes on in the book. I've got it over on my shelves, actually. I found it when I straighten up my shelves, ironically, and details that companies, that stores and such that keep disorderly shelves, and people just go diving through them for stuff, and various inventors and such in their seemingly disorganized ways. Makes for a fascinating study. There's a whole bunch of books along these lines. Another book I believe was written by the same author called Flashpoint. It's about the concept of why is certain ideas take off like mad and others just don't seem to go anywhere, even though they're so similar. One of the things that book pointed out was that there are three kinds of people that communicate. Connectors, he called them. There are the people who know people. There are the people who know things, and there are the people who know ideas. And for instance, one of the points was that the reason that Paul Revere is remembered. My father used to, he'd grouch about how Paul Revere didn't deserve to be remembered because he stopped halfway and he got arrested, and he stopped at a tavern. My dad's a militant teetotaler, and he likes to ignore the fact that pretty much everybody stops at a tavern back in those days. and you stop to get drunk. He's like, "Oy." But anyway, even though Paul Revere didn't travel as far, he contacted more people and he got the word out faster. You see, because Paul Revere, the reason Paul Revere was selected to join the Three Armies, why he was so important, is because Paul Revere, in his business, he knew people, and more importantly, he knew people who knew people. He wasn't a close. Some people, they have two or three friends that they know very closely, and there are other people who have casual acquaintances all over the place. One of those people that knows everybody, like Nick in Zootopia. Nick Wilde in Zootopia, the fox. The reason he was able to help Judy track down the missing Otterton was because he knew so many different people. And these connectors are important. Paul Revere was one of those people. He's I forget what was he, silversmith? Well, anyway, he was in a business. He had contacted lots of people, and he knew when he rode to a town to alert the Minutemen, he knew who to talk to. He knew that this guy knew all these other people. He knew people, and he knew people who knew people. And thanks to him, it was a reason that his name got passed around after the dust settled down, is because it was him getting the word out that got that spread it the most. Now, the other kind of people, there are mavens. These are the people that know things. Like they can get you, they know a place that has a great sale on shoes, or they know about a restaurant that has special deals on Thursdays, or they know stuff, useful information. And those are the people you go to when you want that kind of information. And then there are the salesmen. A salesman, he doesn't know anybody at all, but he is very good at getting the trust of other people. He's able to be friendly with anybody. And that's what enables him to, you need those three kinds of people to make an idea catch on like hotcakes. Now, I would have to look. I have hunted everywhere for a copy of this book, and very useful information. I would love to get it, and I would love to read it more thoroughly, because it strikes me that much of the information in it could be useful to somebody like, say, a web cartoonist or writer who wants to get his name out. Because, there's a lot of truth to the saying that it's not what you know, it's who you know. When you talk about any industry, especially in the media. And that kind of information is very useful. As tipping point, I believe it's called. The series of books on rather eccentric studies of sociology and how societies grow and move and communicate, and how certain things work and how they don't work. Very eccentric perspectives, but they can often, these books often give interesting insights. It is to my regret that I have never been able to really utilize what I learned from those books effectively. I'm a human Trivial Pursuit game. I have knowledge on all sorts of things, and I'm not bragging. I'm just stating a fact. I'm familiar with all sorts of odd bits and ends of information, but unfortunately I don't have any in-depth knowledge. Yeah, I know enough about everything, just enough about everything to get myself in trouble at anything. Like I said, a human Trivial Pursuit game. I've got all these odd bits and ends of information and how to, and so on and so forth. And it's a little disappointing to me that all these fascinating bits of information uh, rarely seem to come together in a useful way for me. When I try to make use of some of the things I've learned, I can never seem to use them as effectively as those I've learned them from. You want to know one of the few examples of information I have learned that I have used effectively? Bananas. I'm not kidding you. Bananas. You see, little factoid. Lots of interesting stuff to learn about. A lot of interesting facts about bananas and such. But here's one for you. You know the easiest way to peel a banana? You know what the easiest way to peel a banana is? At the other end of the fruit. Most people these days, they start at the stem up at the top. But it is so much easier if you start at the other end. I've tested this myself. It's a lot easier to peel a banana. And this is a telling thing. It's much easier. It's much you just stick your thumb in, and there's a lot less waste. And you don't smush up the end of the banana. And it's easier to hold the banana because you got the stem in your hand instead of the edible end. And it's of note that you've seen cartoon banana peels. You've seen cartoon banana peels. Let's see here. It's a trope, okay? It's as old as dirt. Everybody draws a banana peel pretty much the same way. They've been doing this ever since bananas first became a popular fruit in the United States back at the turn of the century, back at the turn of the 20th century. Now look at that banana peel. Think about this. They have been drawing the banana peel, in cartoons and comics this way for almost 100 years. Now tell me this. Which end of the banana would you have to peel first? Which end of the banana would you have to start the peel at for a banana peel to look like that? That's right. The end opposite the stem. This was noted. It was noted a while back. A guy pointed out the monkeys. If you want an expert on bananas, go to a monkey. Monkeys and apes, they peel bananas this way. They start at the end opposite the stem. And this is apparently how people used to peel the bananas back when they were first introduced. No telling why people stopped doing it that way. Everybody tries to use the stem as like a pull tab, and it doesn't quite work too well, as I can testify. But back when bananas first started being sold, they got wildly popular in the early years of the 20th century. During the Depression, because they were at the time they flooded the market. They were dirt cheap, they were tasty, and they were fresh fruit. And they and people bought them by the ton. In fact, they became a problem, a sanitation problem, because people back then, they would throw trash and stuff in the street. People were slobs back then, and people would leave banana peels lying in the street. Banana peels would look like this. And the thing of it is that banana peels are supposed to be slippery. But the thing of it is that it's not a fresh banana peel you have to really watch out for. It's the rotten ones. Anyway, people would throw these banana peels out in the streets. They would rot in the sun, and you step on them and you go flying. It's like stepping on greased boogers, and people were getting injured. They had to deploy extra street cleaners and street sweepers to take care of the banana problem. Anyway, this was such a common thing that it became a comedy bit in vaudeville. It became a trope in vaudeville and in black and white movies, the cinema. These little comedy bits. And thus the banana peel became the symbol of comedy fruit. But it's of note that the stereotypical banana peel looks exactly like it should if you peeled it at the proper end. And this little bit of information has made my life a bit easier. It actually has. At least when I buy bananas. Because they're so much easier to peel now. Here's another fact to you. Do you realize that rabbits do not like carrots? Rabbits don't normally eat a lot of carrots. In fact, feeding them a lot of carrots is bad for them. Rabbits don't generally eat root vegetables. They go for leafy stuff. The reason people associate rabbits with carrots is because of Bugs Bunny. And the reason Bugs Bunny is associated with carrots is because of in his first couple of appearances, he was doing an imitation. Now, most people don't realize that one of the shticks that the Warner Brothers characters often did is that they would imitate actors and celebrities, even way back then. There was a movie that starred Clark Gable. And there was one scene where Clark Gable, who was very popular back then, was standing out in a field. He picks a carrot, cleans it off, and starts eating it. In fact, it was on the poster. Look here. Now, when Bugs Bunny first came out, was around the time this movie became popular. And most people who went to the movie theater and saw the cartoon shorts knew that Bugs Bunny was doing a a Clark Gable imitation. But as time went by, Clark Gable, faded from popular entertainment, but Bugs Bunny didn't. And so people assume that the reason Bugs Bunny was eating so many carrots is because he was a bunny rabbit, and because bunny rabbits eat vegetables, and bunny rabbits must be crazy about carrots. Cosmic irony, isn't it? This is also useful information, at least if you have a pet rabbit. You don't want to feed a rabbit a lot of carrots. While they will eat it, it's basically the carrot is too starchy and has too much sugar and starch in it. It's basically, like, it would be feeding a rabbit on carrots would be like feeding a child cake for every meal. Not too good for them. Just for starters, based on the sugar in them. Don't you feel educated? Yeah, well, you've seen monkeys peel bananas sideways. Not every monkey's going to be a genius. I've seen people open canned food with a hammer. It doesn't exactly impress me. I can't get the banana out. Now you know stuff about bananas and carrots that you didn't know before. Don't you feel special? Also, mice don't go for cheese. It's not their mice will eat cheese if it's available. If it's what all that's there, they'll eat it. They're scavengers. Uh, you'd have the whole mice and cheese thing, because people would store wheels of cheese. The mice would get into the storeroom and eat what was there, and all that was there was cheese. Mice actually prefer sugary stuff. If you want to bait a trap for a mouse, you don't use cheese. You use it's actually a dollop of peanut butter or even a gumdrop will do a better job. And a dollop of peanut butter is a little bit easier to put on the trap. It's a little alarming, but you find things like this, you wonder how many other commonly accepted truths, quote unquote, are actually leftovers. Old movie tropes and mistaken impressions left behind by comic books and stuff. Okay, it is 10:30, and I'm just burning time now. monkey typewriter, infinite time. Oh, well, the problem is, Freddy Firecaster, evolutionists love that comparison. You know that? If of course, you give it enough time, it could happen. Infinite monkeys, infinite typewriters, etc. Blah blah blah. The problem is there is no possible scenario where you have infinite monkeys, infinite typewriters, or infinite time. We live in a finite universe and we know it. Not really. It's not really a fun thought. It's a mistaken one. There are some things that can never happen, even given infinite amounts of time. For example, mathematically speaking, there are an infinite number of numbers between 0 and 1. But no matter how long you looked, even for all eternity, you're never going to find 2 there. There is such a thing as impossible. Okay, it is 10:30 just about. Oh my word. Oh, no wonder it was acting funny. Okay, and I'm gonna call it a night. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Get a little more productive. Get few more things buttoned up and bolted in, and hopefully up and running properly. We'll see you all tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. All right.